Hi everyone, this is Paul Lange from Disciplined Trading Strategies with this week's Trade of the Week video. This is the week ending 11/22 of 2020. This happened on Friday the 20th and the stock was FUV. I've never heard of FUV. This was based on a gap carry entry on a shakeout plus a bull 180 that actually was on a 1-minute chart. Management simple and reward to risk about 5.1 to 1. As usual, before we get into this trade, remind you what's coming up this week. This week we have a short holiday week, so there's nothing special going on at DTS. The 26th of November, Thursday, will be Thanksgiving. Everything is closed. And on Friday, the markets are open a half day. They're required to never be closed 4 days in a row, but DTS will be closed across the board. I suggest you take the day off. It's usually quite a boring day. Here is the trade on FUV. First of all, funny story, I try to get the extra work I have to do for DTS done as I can, oftentimes throughout the trading day when I'm bored. And on Thursday I had some free time. I was going to go ahead and do the Trade of the Week video. I had a couple that I thought were pretty good. And I had this gut feeling to just wait for some reason. And I waited till Friday. And sure enough, a trade come up Friday that was one of the best trades in a while. And that's the reason it was being shown this time, because it was a great trade. I explained to you sometimes I don't usually pick the biggest winner. Rather, I go for one of the more educational ones, but this actually was picked because it was simply the biggest winner. This was FUV. I never heard of this stock, but this is what happened the prior day. Now, this is a strategy where I'm looking to catch novice people on the wrong side. A lot of times when stocks take off, they have powerful moves, and if you get the right pattern, you'll see that they're going to continue higher, but yet some people think that because of the big move, it has to drop the next day. A lot of people came in and probably decided to short this the next morning. You can see that it gapped down this next day right to there. But the reaction was, after a few minutes of heading lower, that it quickly flipped around, and anybody trying to short it that morning was in a lot of trouble. So in addition to whatever buying was still coming into the stock, we had short covering, and it had a really big move that day. Here's the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart is not anything super special to show on here other than you just get a concept of the move that occurred. It opened right there, had one red 15-minute bar, stalled a little bit, and then moved higher. The 5-minute chart gives you a little better view of what's going on, at least in terms of where I got in. That's the opening right there. And then I got in right in there, entry 1361, stop 1319. That's a 40-cent inside stop, 42-cent outside stop. This is what I like to do in general. When you ask my style of trading, what I really focus on is finding bigger moves from bigger time frames. I'm really trading hourly charts, 15-minute charts, even in some cases the daily chart, but I'm trying to find entries on very small time frames. When you hear me say I entered on the 1-minute chart, I'm not a 1-minute chart trader. I don't use that as my strategic concept. But when you can come in and find a great tight little entry, yet very secure on something that could have a big move, this is the extreme example of it. You can't really see the entry on the 5-minute chart here. You'll see it on the next slide, but you get some perception of the move here. I took target 1 right in there because it was a really good target and you don't know how long it's going to roll over. And then target 2 I took right in there. I'm very proud of that target. Yes, it ran another $4. But there's also no way to know that could have rolled over right there and fallen, because it's when it started to drop I got out of this. So it had even a bigger move than what I took, but I will be very proud of that target anytime you ask me. And here is the great little entry that happened. And you have to understand that a lot of these trades, they're not the one thing I'm looking at. This is just on a screen. And I put these on the screen sometime, this type of trade, but it rarely gives me the setup that I want. Sometimes they just take off, sometimes they're just all over the place. But this had this very controlled little entry, and it was a very reliable type of entry. As a matter of fact, when I saw it, I shouted out to the room, this is a gotta do type of trade. The reason is because it had this little, what I call a shakeout. That's what you saw on the opening screen, SO, a little shakeout. This went to the new low after going sideways for a while. And if people were really selling this, should have followed through, or after this little rally, it should have followed through. But rather than following through, it went sideways and popped. I waited for that second pop. I wasn't too overly anxious to get in because I knew it would have a decent move if it did. So I got in here with a 40-cent inside stop and a stock that eventually moved. Well, you see the targets here. Target number 1 was to 1488, and target number 2 is actually off the chart there. You saw it on the prior chart. But that is a $3 move with a 40-cent stop. And yes, it went even another $4 beyond that. So this is the ultimate case of just finding that great little entry inside of a stock that could have a very powerful move. If you like concepts like this, come join us in the DTS Trading Room. If you go to the DTS webpage, you can see it right there, disciplinedtradingstrategies.com. Once you enter that, it won't be hard because Google will remember it for you. And hop over to the services page. You can figure out how to get a trial to the DTS Trading Room, as well as a lot of great information about the room if you are interested. Until next time, this is Paul for DTS. Good trading, everybody.